Hi there, my name is Dan Murphy, and you're listening to the Don't Change Much podcast. If exercise isn't a priority in your life, our next guest offers up some extra inspiration why it should be, no matter what age you are. Tommy Europe has made a career out of being physical. The former CFL All-Star and Grey Cup champion is now a fitness coach, actor, and stunt performer. He's also a national champion with the Canadian Men's Health Foundation. In this episode, we talk to Tommy about what peak physical fitness means for him, how he stays motivated, and why exercise is important as you get older. All right, so pleased to be joined by our next guest. He spent 11 years in the Canadian Football League. He was an All-Star multiple times, and he is a champion of the Canadian Men's Health Foundation. His name is Tommy Europe. And Tommy, you played in the CFL for 11 seasons. How long towards the end of your career did you start thinking about your post-career and what you wanted to do? And did you always know that fitness was going to be a part of it?
I definitely knew fitness was going to be a part of it. And realistically, 4 years in, 4 years in, 4.5, I knew I had to think about something about life after football. I just finished my 4th season playing with the Lions. I signed in New Orleans with the Saints. I got released at the end of camp, but I did something to my knee that continued to materialize when I went to Montreal, and I ended up having knee surgery after that season. So actually it's season 5. And while I was in the off season and doing my physio and rehab, and anyone who's ever done that, it will definitely humble you greatly. During my rehab sessions, I couldn't pass. We had to do a Cybex test that you had to pass for your physical, and I couldn't get past it through all my rehab. Then I was like, well, if I can't play anymore, what am I going to do? And then I thought about different things. I knew I didn't want to wear a suit. I knew I didn't want to be uncomfortable for the day. So I turned to health and fitness, and, I looked into training, and that's when I actually got certified, was officially certified. It was 1997.
So you were prepping for your second career even while you were continuing on with your first career?
Yeah, because in professional sports, especially in football, you never know when you're going to be done. It's not like, okay, at the end of this season, that's probably going to be it. It could be immediate, or it could be extended a little bit. But I think for any sport, regardless of what you're playing, whoever the athlete is, you definitely really have to look at, okay, what kind of things do you want to do after your life? What kind of things make you happy, bring you joy, will keep you healthy and fit, and kind of give you that same kind of satisfaction of, sports is such a short career. I mean, even in, the milestone, guys that played 20 years, and whether it's the NFL or, NHL, something like that, that's still a very short amount of time in relation to your entire lifespan. So you have to really look at, what kind of things you wanted to do. And fitness for me was the catapult of what got me up to that point. So I just kind of used it, and it's worked out great.
So the initial motivation was because it was your passion, fitness. When did it become, kind of something to really want to help others in, their quest to become fit or flexible or motivated?
I think probably when I actually started training people as my main job. I played after my 11th year, and I realized, okay, that's going to be it. I'm not going to go back to play anymore. So I started jumping into, group training, and introducing myself to, a large variety of people of different age groups and, backgrounds and things like that. And then once I saw people start to enjoy the process and see success and see what that did to them and their attitude and overall well-being, that's when it kind of clicked to me, like, hey, this is, it's such a good feeling, to be part of a process of, I think you look at championship teams and you look at management and things like that, and like, well, they didn't play. I go, they busted their butts. They're just as involved, not, on the field of play, but off the field of play. So everybody who plays a part definitely experiences that joy, that thrill of, really achieving something great.
You've since added stunt work to your resume. How did that come about?
Just over the years, Leo the Lion, our mascot, when I played for BC, was actually Daryl Sheeler. He's a old school stunt guy, and he used to tell me some of the stuff that he was doing. I'm like, you're crazy, man. There's no way. And Trevor Jones, who was the Grizz when we had the Grizzlies here, it's one of my best friends from Toronto, actually. We used to play basketball together as kids, and he became a stunt performer. So I started getting more and more intel into the business and what it entailed. My initial thoughts were just a bunch of crazy men and women jumping off of things, doing crazy stuff. But it's very technical, it's very planned, very similar to football and working on a team, because so many different things, you're relying on other people as well, not just your own personal skills. And just started training and working with stunt performers and, rounding out my background so that I can, perform in a wide variety of gigs.
Give us an idea of some of the stunts you performed, and might we know any of the movies or TV shows you've worked on?
I've worked on a lot of shows, a lot of movies. I've worked on both Deadpools, Playing with Fire, most recent Predator. There's been a lot. The Halo series, I was in Budapest to film season 1 of Halo. There's been a lot over the years. I double also on Fire Country. Anybody who's watching Fire Country right now, my good friend Jordan Calloway, who plays Jake, his stunt double. So the beat goes on as far as stunts that I've done. Anything from fights to falls. The craziest was probably rolling under a moving semi-truck in a chase scene. I was doubling Oscar winner Mahershala Ali in a show called Alcatraz that I think played for a season. And there was a big chase scene, and it ended with him being chased by an FBI agent, and he's running. And while a semi is coming, he rolls underneath. So that's probably the craziest thing I've done, where there was no room for error. But there's always, I take everything seriously, even if it's just a simple fall, because any job that you're doing, as soon as you take your focus off or eyes off the prize, that's when bad things happen. And, that's definitely what I do not want.
Obviously, you had sports-specific training for football. How has that differed for stunt work, or is it different?
It's not really different. You're doing different things, but, ideally, learning how to fall without getting hurt, because you're going to be doing it over and over again, and then working in all of the other skills. And obviously that takes, a bit of specific training, ratchets where you're on a wire, whether you're getting hand pulled or it's, mechanical, 80, 90, 100, 200 PSI, depending on what's happening. So it's just continually working on your skills, and sometimes things are coming up and, we rehearse, we train hard. So it's very much like football. And I think that's why I really like that atmosphere. There's amazing men and women performers, who do amazing things. And it's not your everyday occupation, but, it's definitely worthwhile.
Has it had an impact on your body? Have you managed to stay relatively healthy?
Considering what I've put my body through, yes. But at the same time, I also take care of myself. I, see chiros, I see physios, acupuncturists. I'm always looking for different ways to elevate my own body. Just even training techniques. I know we're going to talk a little bit about that later as well. And just getting myself ready. So, the great thing about stunt work, and, you can't really sit on your butt and not do anything, because sometimes you get a call, hey, are you available tomorrow? Okay, you're going to be jumping off of this, or you're going to be rolling under this, or, you never really know what you're going to be doing. So you just always have to be ready. So that's what I definitely appreciate about it. And, for me, it mimics life, being ready. I'm a lifetime athlete. That's what I like to call myself. And, I'm training for life and whatever it throws at me.
Manage your stress, not the other way around. For simple ways to improve your mental health, check out the free MindFit Toolkit from the Canadian Men's Health Foundation. Complete a self-assessment, access virtual counseling, and learn more about how anxiety, stress, or depression might be impacting your health. Go to menshealthfoundation.ca and access the MindFit Toolkit to start improving your mental wellness today.
So obviously this podcast, we're not trying to reach professional athletes or professional stunt people. We're trying to talk to, kind of like the everyday man. So I guess the message, I think, is that physical fitness, it doesn't have to be complicated, does it?
It does not have to be complicated at all. It's just getting started. Just start moving. Some people start by simply walking and just getting their bodies loose and mobile. Mobility is key, especially as we get older. And, the less things that you do to gain strength or gain mobility, it will slowly be taken away from you. And, you never want that decision out of your hands. But while it's in your hands, which is available to every single one of us, take advantage of it and just, challenge yourself and set goals so that you can move forward with purpose.
I'm 53 now, and I certainly see that I can't do things in the gym that I used to do. So as we age, should we be looking to do different things in the gym? Like, when you're younger, and certainly things have evolved in terms of how we view fitness in the gym, in terms of mobility, stretching. No one's just going and doing deadlifts and squats and all this stuff like we used to maybe when we were 18, 19. How does it change as we age? What should we be doing as we age?
As we age, it has to be adjusted. For me, strength wise, I'm just as strong as I've always been, maybe a little bit less. But at the same time, I've never stopped. I've never stopped training for any extended period of time. Mobility is key. Every morning I start off with some just gentle movements and just move my body around. It just makes me feel better. I'll be 53 in a few weeks myself. So Dan, I definitely understand the pain. Sometimes the old man pains set in. It's like, what's that? What's that?
Where'd that come from?
So it's just, I find for myself and, what I recommend to my friends and, clients of that age group, listen to your body. This is the time when you really need to listen to your body. If I'm not feeling, particularly strong, or I feel like I need an extra day's rest, I'll take an extra day's rest. I don't, lift as heavy as I used to on a regular basis. I minimize some of the, some of the pounding, exercises, which, are heavily destructive on the joints. But I still do plyos. I'll do box jump. I keep training as if, I was playing football again. So I'm doing a lot of the exact same things, but just being a lot smarter with it, paying attention to my reps, paying attention to my form. And again, listening to my body. And the main thing for me, I really want to strengthen all of my connective tissue. It's not just about getting, all these big muscles and things like that. Connective tissue plays a big part, and that's where mobility comes into play as well.
Strength training, though, is important, isn't it, as we get older?
Strength training is the only thing that will keep you from, completely losing. After 40, we lose about 1% of our muscle mass every year, unless you're doing some type of resistance training, strength training, bodyweight training. And this, I was listening to, I don't know if you listened to Huberman Labs. He was talking about, he had an aging thing, and some things that I pulled out of there. Every year after 40, 3 to 5% loss in strength and power. After 40, 8 to 10% reduction in speed and explosiveness. So the only way you can combat that is by actually doing it. So while your body is still good and it still moves, and everyone, I think we put limits on our age. Oh, well, I'm 50 now and I can't do this. It's like, yeah, you can. Why can't you? And I think when you take the limits off, and you would be absolutely surprised at what you can put your body through safely, effectively, while challenging it. And then it just makes things a lot more worthwhile and a lot more fun. I'm doing stunts. I also do jujitsu, and I think I'm the oldest guy in the class, but nobody really wants to roll with me because apparently I'm strong.
I think someone once told me, as you get older, you don't own your muscles anymore. You just rent them, and you have to keep paying rent to keep them around. So, those repetitions matter. You can miss days, as you said, but the repetitions matter to try to get those in.
Absolutely. You have to put the work in to get the most out of it. And again, you don't have to be, training, heavy weightlifting 7 days a week. At this point right now, I'll use resistance training 3 to 4 days a week, depending on what I'm doing. But I'm doing some type of mobility work daily. I do, I obviously train jujitsu, and then if there's stunt work that I'm getting ready for, whether it's, I'm going to be active and running the track. So I keep it interesting so that, it's a great way. You're not always going to be motivated, but if you're disciplined, you're going to find ways to get done what needs to get done. So for me, I just keep a nice regiment that way. And even in my world right now in film and entertainment, there are a couple strikes that are going on. So there's not a lot of work going on. So there's basically two options that performers can have. You can sit on your butt and, wait for work to start again, whether it's in 6 months or a year, or you can fix your weak links and, get training, get moving, get stronger. And, that's what for all my clients and, friends my age as well. It's always like, let's go. You got to get started now. You can start small, and then, it's limitless. And wherever you want to take your fitness journey, you have the ability to take it there.
What about motivation for those who might be feeling it's too late? I don't have the energy. I want to get in shape, but I don't feel the motivation. Where can that start, Tommy?
Well, motivation is key. Motivation will initially get you started. But you have to have some goals. So setting goals, I think, is the by far the greatest thing that, anybody can do, when it comes to getting back in shape, and set milestones. If it's been a while since you've worked out or trained or been active, if you're, 50, 60, start doing it. Just start going. You'll be absolutely amazed. It's not that long of a time in relation to the time that you spent being inactive. So set a goal for yourself. Okay, this month I'm going to complete X amount of workouts, or I'm going to do this activity, or I'm going to fit into this, into this type of wardrobe, or whatever the case may be. Set a goal, set it monthly, set a shorter goal, a micro goal, and a macro goal, something over the year. Okay, I want to lose 60 pounds. Okay, that's great. If you want to lose 60 pounds in the year, let's break it down by month so that we can make it tangible, make it something that, it's easily accessible. And then once you start seeing success, not only will you look better aesthetically, but you're going to feel better. You're going to feel better. Your body's going to feel better. It's going to move better. And then it's going to be a lot nicer to you in the long term. And as we age, we all want to age gracefully. We all want to age, actively. Nobody wants to be, stuck in a wheelchair or a bed or anything like that. So let's get out there and move around.
For me, I used to kick myself if I missed a day, or say I missed 2 days, and I was like, okay, that day is lost. And I think one thing that's helped me is that I look at it in week increments. And you can do this with diet as well. If you have a bad day, okay, so what? You had a bad day or you missed it. How am I going to make up a little bit each other day of the week to get me back on to the plateau that I was looking to get to? So I think an important message that I always had is that you don't have to be perfect. You can have those off days. You can have those cheat days. But you can make up for those days with the rest of the week by just doing a little tiny bit extra. So, and many things in life, I think not being perfect is just fine. You just have to be honest with yourself and truthful to kind of make up a little bit the rest of the way.
I agree 100%. And in this game of fitness, in this game of life, absolutely nobody is perfect. And whoever you think is perfect is just showing you a good facade, because we all have our faults. We all have our days. And, I'm the same. I used to, I didn't go to the gym today. I got it. Now if I miss a day, my body would be like, nope. Like, all right, I'll get back at it tomorrow. And then I'm not trying to, like, for me personally, and what I tell people, don't try to make up for whatever is gone or past. It's already past. just as you take another step forward, it's like, okay, I'm going to work a little bit harder today. I'm going to do, this activity or that activity. When I do housework, my neighbors, they all know me now, so they're used to it. But, anytime I'm running around the house, I've got, a 20 or 30 pound weight vest on just to, just to have, because I know I'm going to be going upstairs, downstairs, up hills, moving things, whether I'm cutting grass or just moving things around the house. So it's just that little bit of extra. As I said, you will not always be motivated, but if you're disciplined, you're going to find different ways where you can squeeze out a little bit of time, to be active and, help yourself feel better.
So, you've got a busy career on many fronts. You're a father, you've got 2 daughters. How big is organizing and planning your week? Because obviously you're making a priority, but it can still be difficult with the time constraints. So do you have to be organized? Do you have to plan properly, perhaps on a Sunday, to know what your week's going to look like? And of course, there's always going to be obstacles and hurdles. But how key is organization and preparation?
Organization and prep is very crucial to your success, because things are always going to pop up. With daughters, I know on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'm either dropping off or picking up, from different activities. So I would just work my work day into that. Obviously, if I'm working I'm on set, that's something different. If I'm training people, it's generally sometime in the morning hours. So I kind of work my schedule around that, and then I think of my training schedule. When I get up at 6 to 7 o'clock, I'll do some mobility in the morning. If I don't have anything happening in the morning, I'll get my training session in. Otherwise, I'll push it to later in the day. So you have to kind of have that schedule and that latitude so that you know exactly when you're going to get your activity in, what it looks like in a nutshell. And then just helps you be a lot more successful, because if you don't plan, there's always going to be something. And if you've got kids, there's always going to be something that pops up. There's always going to be something that's unexpected. So you have to prepare for that and just roll with it and deal with it. And, I never beat myself up about missing training sessions or things like that anymore. You can't beat yourself up. It's whatever, as I said, whatever is gone is gone. Take the next step forward. Think of, okay, how is this activity going to get me? Is this activity going to get me closer to my goal? Yes or no? Is this food or, that going to get me closer to my goal? Yes or no? And that's how I kind of look at things to, see what's a priority in your lives, because a lot of the times we spend so much time on things that are nowhere near being a high priority, but they're, huge time wasters, and, they take up your energy. So be smart, plan it, and just make it all part of your plan, and make it as easy as possible for you so that, it's going to mesh with your lifestyle.
So if someone's listening right now and they're like, I don't want to join a gym, but I do want to get started. I know there's more information out there than ever now on whatever Instagram and so and so. But for someone who doesn't have weights and doesn't want to join a gym, there can be simple things to start, whether it be air squats and push-ups.
Air squats, push-up. Yep. Yeah. I'll give you a bunch right now, because, I've got a gym obviously at my house, but, when I'm go see my mom in Toronto or something, there's, we don't have anything in the house, and my mom likes to train too. So I'll put her through little workouts kind of on the phone, or I'll send her different things. And simple thing that anybody can do. So guys, grab a couch, have a seat, stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. Those are squats. You can hold books, you can hold, pots, you can hold something like that for that extra weight. Air squats, as you said, wall squats. You can do push-ups. If you can't do push-ups right from the ground, do them from your knees. If that's a little too difficult, elevate your upper body so that you're pushing up off of a chair or off of a couch, which is going to take some of the resistance pressure off. Core work, mountain climbers, bear crawls, plank, hamstring bridges, Supermans for your back. We can do isometric with your shoulders, just holding them out to the side for, designated amounts of time. So my point is, it's there's so many things that you can do that require zero equipment. You just have to have, if you want to do it, you'll figure out ways to do it. As you said, the internet is chocked with, more than ever of whatever you want to achieve. It's out there for you. You can check me out as well. Just go to my website, uh, Tommy Europe Fitness, and yeah, got lots of options for you. But don't think that you have to, spend all this type of money for all these, different types of equipment or plans or things like that. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Work it within your budget, and see what you gravitate to. Some people like working around people, so maybe group classes are your thing to kind of give you that extra motivation of other people in the class. There's personal trainers, at every price level. And just because somebody's expensive doesn't mean they're good. And just because somebody is cheap, it doesn't mean that they're bad. So you have to, take that due diligence, and, this is about your life and this is about your health. And obviously that's what we want to promote. So find what works for you, and then go after it. But the main thing is just get started.
So when you do start, would you recommend logging what you've done to give you a benchmark, a baseline to see what you do the next day and the day after that?
Yeah, it's definitely, you want to keep track of what's happening. With my clients, I have a training app, so everything gets logged that way. It's just a good idea because it lets you know what you're doing from day to day. It's letting you gauge what kind of progress you're seeing, depending if you're following a program or if you're just doing, everyday fitness, everyday activity. Ultimately, if you want to reach your goals quicker, seeing a professional is the fast track route. You can do it on your own. And if you don't have that high of, a fitness background, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But again, there's so many things that are online to get you started. And then once you get started, then the sky's the limit from there. Because once you get started and you start feeling, as I said, that energy, and you got those endorphins flying through your system, and you got this increased energy, you're going to feel better. You're going to have a lot more energy. You'll be amazed. And again, just don't put any limits on anything.
Can you give us an example of someone you've coached, and you don't have to use their name, about how exercise has transformed their life, but perhaps how they might have felt a little helpless at the start, but now fitness has become a priority and a big portion of their life?
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to work with lots of people over the years, and some of the television shows that, the Last 10 Pounds Boot Camp and Bulging Brides. So, I've had, lots of different success stories and people that I have worked with. And, one in particular, I can remember when I started working with her, I think she could do 2 push-ups from her knees. And, now she's competing in fitness contests and things like that because it's something this is over a period of 6 to 7 years. She started off, training once a week, and, there wasn't much action happening. And I said, well, whether you see me once a week, you got to be doing some other things on the side. You have to be looking at what you're eating, what you're drinking, because, what you're putting into your system is just as important as, what you're putting your body through exercise wise. So eating the right things. And then, yeah, she just made that change. And sometimes a light bulb goes off, in your mind. Another name I can use, and his name is Nathan, because I had him on the show. He actually had the record on the Last 10 Pounds Boot Camp. He lost 28 or 32 pounds in 4 weeks. But, this was a guy who was, in his mid 30s, and he could shotgun a beer in 2 seconds, and he'd probably have, 5 or 6 of them in a sitting, in amongst whatever else he was drinking and eating, and just completely deconditioned. If you look on the Last 10 Pounds Boot Camp, his name was Nathan. And he was awesome. And, after the first week, I told him, I said, if you just stop drinking alone, you're going to lose 10 pounds easy, because there were just empty calories that he was adding to the system, plus being sedentary and not doing anything, athletically. So he started, we had a great time during the 4 weeks that I trained with him. just introducing different types of exercises to him. He loved doing cardio, and he ended up being a marathon runner. And he's still running to this day. So those are the types of things that it doesn't matter where you start. The whole thing is just get started. And then once you look back and see what you've gone through and see the journey, you're going to be so proud of yourself and just for getting started. And, guys, whether you're 40, whether you're 50, whether you're 60, whether you're 70, if you've got the ability to move, to be mobile, and things are still in your control, take advantage of it.
So how old are your daughters, Tommy?
12 in a couple of weeks and 13.
Okay. So have you delivered a message on health and fitness, or has it just been from them watching you and observing how you go about with your everyday life?
Both. I, obviously I encourage health and fitness, and, they've worked out in the gym. I've worked them out. They both play basketball. One does taekwondo. She's actually done some stunts as well. And the other one runs track and, just ran her PB in the 100. And so, I tell them, I said, do you guys want to be good or do you want to be average? If you want to be average, keep doing what you're doing, which at the time was nothing. This was years ago. If you want to be good, you got to practice. So if you're playing basketball, go dribble a ball for 5 or 10 minutes a day. It's not a lot of time. It's going to make you better. For track, you need explosiveness, you need power. And, now that, being teenagers at 13, now that you've, worked the strength advantage that you're going to have over the next couple of years. So I've showed them, I've talked to them about it over the years. Now that they're a little bit older, I can do different things with them in the gym or, just support them, in whatever they're doing. And they're finding success and they like to be challenged. And, it's a great thing because again, your kids do see what you do. And it's much better to lead by example than, hey, do this or do that. I'm not going to do it, but it's fine for you to do it.
Yeah. My wife and I have a 10-year-old, and we're very conscious too about not hammering home the body image thing.
Correct.
Right? And so we find it's a bit of a fine line. But I think that's where Don't Change Much can help. It's just make a positive choice twice a day, whether it's in the fridge or, go for a walk with the dogs. Just try to make one or two good choices a day that's going to catapult you into making maybe 3 the next day, and making sure there's some enjoyment out of the movement.
Exactly.
If it's someone that doesn't enjoy doing too much, because our daughter's in swimming. You'd have a tough time getting her to walk to the end of the block, but we take her to swimming and she'll, swim 500 meters in a day.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's so true. And, what you said was paramount. And, for the guys, when it comes to working out or training, never make it about aesthetics. Never make it, it's not about looks or body image or anything like that. It's all about getting that fulfillment, that enjoyment, getting that inner strength, which is going to lead to that outer strength. And that, that's going to continually motivate you going forward. And don't compare yourself to anybody, because everybody comes from a different place. Everybody comes from a different background. They have different goals. So unless you're actually, in somebody else's life to see what's going on, you have no idea. So just keep going on. And yeah, you definitely have to make it fun. For a lot of the things like track and things like that, I ran track as well through, a lot later parts of high school and university. And have you showed her this? Have you shown it? And I'm like, nope. I want her just to go have fun with it. And, that we just did the last meet. I said, okay, I'm going to train you for your last meet. And if you do everything I say for the week, you're going to get your personal best. And I'm like, but you're going to do everything I say. So I was like, okay. So, along with that 2 classes, her 2 training sessions, we trained another 3 or 4 days, sometimes on the track, sometimes with weights. And she PB'd. And, my point was, if you want to reach something, if you want to go past, whatever, your success rate, whatever your level was, if you want to go past that, you're going to have to push yourself. You're going to have to give a little bit extra. And we all have it in us. So just keep on going. Don't minimize things, and, go be your best. Put it all out there on the field of play, whatever that may be, whether that's getting out of your house and walking a block or walking a set of stairs, and give yourself little wins. I mean, everything, give yourself mini wins along the way, mini celebrations. Congratulate yourself. If, guys, if you haven't been active, just get up, move around for 10, 15 minutes and give yourself a pat on the back because you did it. Then the next day, maybe do the same thing or go out for 20 minutes or try different activities. This way, that's an easy way to kind of keep you motivated along the way and along the path. And then that way it's not as daunting as, okay, you got to go in the gym and you got to do this and, you got to eat that. And, the people aren't going to do it. The people aren't going to do it. It's got to be something that, regardless of how much you want something for somebody else, until they want it for themselves, nothing will be permanent. There'll be no permanent change. So do it for yourself, guys. It's definitely worth it.
A couple more here. We had a family friend that lost, 30, 40 pounds by walking. Started, and I said, how'd you do it? And he just said, basically, I just put one foot in front of the other, and that's all I concentrated on. And whether it was uphill, downhill, trails, he said, just one foot in front of the other, and you do what you can, and then you go back the next day and try and do it again. So how much joy do you get out of seeing, whether it be your daughter or someone you train, reach some of these goals that they've put forth?
It's exhilarating. It's, being a lifelong athlete of a bunch of different sports, and, you always hear coaches when they're yelling at you, it's like, I'm not yelling at you, I'm yelling for you. And you're like, no, you're yelling at me, coach. Then you get it, because when, working with people and there's a certain light switch that kind of goes off and a spark that's in their eye or in their face when, they realize what they've just done, or, they look at the progression of where they started and where they are now. And, it's mind blowing. And again, we're not talking about pro athletes here. We're talking about everyday people that are just going out trying to make their lives better, make better choices, be more active, and ultimately have a bit more fulfilled and enjoyment in life.
Well, here's a question we ask all our guests, and so we will ask you, what does "don't change much" mean to Tommy Europe?
Don't change much. Just like, as we've said, putting one foot ahead of the other each and every day, getting up, putting the work in, not making any life-altering changes, but just doing one thing to help you get closer to your goal. That's not going to be daunting on you, not going to be heavily weighted on you. That's what "don't change much" means to me.
Thank you so much for your insight, and we sure hope to see you in some television and movies down the road, Tommy, and appreciate you being a national champion for this organization. It means a lot to a lot of people.
Thanks a lot, Dan. And fellas, remember, don't change much.
Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to read more from Tommy about how to get active, check out menshealthfoundation.ca and click the follow button to join us every month for a new episode of the Don't Change Much podcast.